Villagers, thank you for love and support. I appreciate you all. Yellow people can never do without Africa. These are the same people who go about preaching how poor Africa is, and we are surviving on their aid. When Donald Trump came into power, we heard him saying he wasn't going to give us any aid. And instead of our leaders to be so excited because maybe they were scared to say no to the aid, they were now crying and always presenting themselves as poor people. No wonder everybody sees Africa as a poor continent. Yet we know that without us, these people cannot survive. US Congress is on heat. Everywhere, fire on them. They are having sleepless nights. Because every single opportunity that they get, they discuss Africa. According to them, China is blocking their interests with all the things that China is doing, that they have to act fast. Because looking at what China is doing in Africa is becoming a threat to the United States of America, and they really need to do something. These people, ever since we knew them, they have never done anything good for Africa. The roads they claim they built were for them to be able to move all the resources that they were taking from Africa. We saw the educational system they gave to us. Nothing good out of it. Today, look at what our students are doing. Dancing here and there when their mates are busy learning life skills in school. These are the same people that the African students or youth are going to compete with on the global stage. But we are busy dancing, learning A for apple, B for ball.
Good afternoon. The hearing of the Senate Foreign Relations, Africa, and Global Health Policy Subcommittee will come to order. Welcome to our witness. Thank you all for joining us today. There is a consensus emerging. First, that for decades the United States has been disregarding acute national security challenges and critical opportunities in Africa. And second, that for the safety and prosperity of Americans, we can no longer afford to do so. I believe that consensus is both correct and long overdue. The emphasis and attention that President Trump has already given to Africa is a demonstration of that consensus. Those challenges and opportunities are vast. They include threats posed by China, Russia, and Iran, as well as an array of regional crises. Many of the challenges we face are so fundamental and have been neglected for so long that what needs to be done is relatively clear. We have an enormous amount of work to do. Today's hearing is on China's malign influence in Africa. China represents the most significant long-term strategic threat to the United States. I believe that fundamentally, China is a global threat that must be confronted globally, region by region. Among those regions, pressingly, is Africa. China is exercising its military, economic, and political power and advancing its authoritarian agenda, all while undermining the sovereignty of African nations and the strategic interest of the United States. Politically and diplomatically, China is leveraging its growing influence to marginalize U.S. allies, most notably Taiwan. The Chinese Communist Party is pouring billions into its Belt and Road Initiative, trapping African countries in unsustainable debt and using these arrangements to block American interests. The primary reason why China is investing so heavily in Africa is critical minerals. China already dominates critical mineral global supply chains, and China is aggressively locking up control over these resources across Africa. That leaves the United States vulnerable to being cut off. Xi Jinping talks about, quote, world socialism, and declares that, quote, realizing communism has been the party's supreme ideal and ultimate objective. The CCP is building a military capable of global power projection and creating regional economic blocs that exclude the United States because they intend to project power globally at the expense of core American national security interests. Countering Chinese malign influence in Africa requires us to reshape the paradigm of U.S.-Africa policy. For decades, U.S.-Africa policy has been synonymous with aid and development. Today, we are changing that paradigm. Today and into the future, U.S.-Africa policy will revolve around investment-led commercial diplomacy. To counter China, we need to partner with our allies and friends in Africa to promote, expand, and grow trade and investment relationships. To be an alternative to China, we have to create real alternatives to China.
We will definitely fight. We will not allow you to always project us to the world that we are poor, yet you can never do without us. Everything you have is from Africa. You are always taking everything out of the continent to feed your industry. Without us, you are nothing. If Africa is truly poor, why are you always scared that there are other people that are coming to the continent? After all, Africa do not belong to you. We have every right to decide where we want to be, who we want to form an alliance with. These people are seeing Russia, China, and Iran to be a threat to them, because they are no longer going to be getting free things from Africa. Why are they so concerned about people who come here? We want to be partners with Iran because it is very important. We don't want to continue to live in Africa whereby you can just come here and do anything to us, because you know that you control even the things that we can use to defend ourselves. With our own money, we cannot even buy the equipment that we need to protect ourselves, our security. Russia is protecting us, making sure that what we need to protect and defend ourselves, we get them. China is not only coming here to carry the resources, just like you do. Russia, ever since Africans started fighting for their independence, they have always been there with us. They have always supported us. These people are not coming here like the way you do, to come and carry the resources and continue to make us poor, to make us suffer. No, they don't come into the continent, determine what we should be doing, telling us which leaders they think are good for us. They don't meddle in the affairs of the African. Like you see that and command us, imposing things on us. When we don't accept them, you sanction us. These ones are not like that. They treat us equally. Enough. Allow us to be. Africa is not the backyard of anybody. Africa belongs to the Africans. We have the right to make friends with anybody. We have every right to go there. That's why we always say, until we do away with all these democratic elected, Africa can never be free, because with them, they are able to manipulate them. Unlike Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, AES must spread all over Africa. Till then, Africa will never be free. We are the only ones that can set ourselves free. United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world and in the United States of America.